Very warm welcome to all of you to the Embassy of India in Mexico for celebration of India's Republic Day. We are now going to start the program. I would request you all to please come forward. In a moment from now, the Ambassador of India, His Excellency John Chinoy, will unfurl the Indian national flag and we will follow it with singing of national anthem. And then the Ambassador will read out the President's message to the citizens of India. So I now request Ambassador to please come and unfurl the flag.
Good morning, friends. Buenos días a todos. We, the Embassy of India in Mexico, may be one of the last missions around the world to celebrate the 65th Republic Day of India, but I can assure you that we are not the least. I want to extend a very warm welcome to all of you and to wish you, each one of you, a very happy new year. The Indian community in Mexico has been growing steadily. Of many Mexican friends, this morning is also indicative of the vigor in our bilateral ties. I now have the pleasure and the honor to read to you the Honorable President's address to the nation on the eve of Republic Day 2014. मेरे प्यारे देशवासियों, 65वें गणतंत्र दिवस की पूर्व संध्या पर मैं भारत और विदेशों में बसे आप सभी को हार्दिक बधाई देता हूं। मैं हमारी सशस्त्र सेनाओं, अर्धसैनिक बलों तथा आंतरिक सुरक्षा बलों के सदस्यों को अपनी विशेष बधाई देता हूं। The Republic Day commands the respect of every Indian. On this day, 64 years ago, in a remarkable display of idealism and courage, we, the people of India, gave to ourselves a sovereign democratic republic to secure to all its citizens justice, liberty, and equality. We undertook to promote among all citizens fraternity, the dignity of the individual, and the unity of the nation. These ideals became the lodestar of the modern Indian state. Democracy became our most precious guide towards peace and regeneration from the swamp of poverty created by centuries of colonial rule. From within the spacious provisions of our Constitution, India has grown into a beautiful, vibrant, and sometimes noisy democracy. For us, the democracy is not a gift, but the fundamental right of every citizen. For those in power, democracy is a sacred trust. Those who violate this trust commit sacrilege against the nation. Some cynics may scoff at our commitment to democracy, but our democracy has never been betrayed by the people. Its fault lines, where they exist, are the handiwork of those who have made power a gateway to greed. We do feel angry, and rightly so, when we see democratic institutions being weakened by complacency and incompetence. If we hear sometimes an anthem of despair from the street, it is because people feel that a sacred trust is being violated. Fellow citizens, corruption is a cancer that erodes democracy and weakens the foundations of our state. If Indians are enraged, it is because they are witnessing corruption and waste of national resources. If governments do not remove these flaws, voters will remove governments. This rage will abate only when governments deliver what they were elected to deliver. Social and economic progress, not at a snail's pace, but with the speed of a racehorse. The aspirational young Indian will not forgive a betrayal of her future. Those in office must eliminate the trust deficit between them and the people. Those in politics should understand that every election comes with a warning sign: perform or perish. I'm not a cynic because I know that democracy has this marvelous ability to self-correct. My fellow citizens, the last decade witnessed the emergence of India as one of the fastest growing economies in the world. The slowdown of our economy in the last 2 years can be some cause for concern, but none for despair. The green shoots of revival are already visible. The agricultural growth in the first half of this year has touched 3.6%, and the rural economy is buoyant. Each one of us is a voter. Each one of us has a deep responsibility. We cannot let India down. It is time for introspection and action. India must find its own solutions to its problems. We must be open to all knowledge. To do otherwise would be to condemn our nation to the misery of a stagnant mire. But we should not indulge in the easy option of mindless imitation, for that can lead us to a garden of weeds. India has the intellectual prowess, the human resource, and financial capital to shape a glorious future. We possess a dynamic civil society with an innovative mindset. Our people, whether in villages or cities, share a vibrant, unique consciousness and culture. Our finest assets are human. Fellow citizens, education has been an inseparable part of the Indian experience. I am not talking only of the ancient institutions of excellence like Takshashila or Nalanda, but of an age as recent as the 17th and 18th centuries. Today, our higher educational infrastructure consists of over 650 universities and 33,000 colleges. The quality of education has to be the focus of our attention now. We can be world leaders in education if only we discover the will and leadership to take us to that pinnacle. Education is no longer just the privilege of the elite, but a universal right. It is the seed of a nation's destiny. We must usher in an educational revolution that becomes a launching pad for the national resurgence. My fellow citizens, there will be a new government before I speak to you again on the eve of our Independence Day. Who wins the coming election is less important than the fact that whosoever wins must have an undiluted commitment to stability, honesty, and the development of India. Our problems will not disappear overnight. We live in a turbulent part of the world where factors of instability have grown in the recent past. Communal forces and terrorists will still seek to destabilize the harmony of our people and the integrity of our state, but they will never win. Our security and armed forces, backed by the steel of popular support, have proved that they can crush an enemy within, with as much felicity as they guard our frontiers. Mavericks who question the integrity of our armed services are irresponsible and should find no place in public life.
It will be a short program of about 30 minutes, and I will request my colleague Shri Anil Kumar Mata, who is the director of Gurudev Tagore Indian Cultural Center in Mexico, to go to the program. Mr. Mata.
Thank you very much, Shri Agrawal sir, DC. We have now entered the stage of culture program. Every year, our Indian community have taken part in this program with great enthusiasm and interest. This year also they have come up with a great program. Our first item will be presented by a patriotic song, We Shall Overcome, Hum Honge Kamyab, displaying the confidence of the children.
हिंदुस्तानी नाच हमारा है, सबसे प्यारा देश हमारा है। हिंदुस्तानी नाम हमारा है, तो है भाई भाई प्यार से रहेंगे हम, हिंदुस्तानी नाम हमारा है सबसे प्यारा